The village in it with a map and a plan. No place too tiny for this determined man. Crossing the counties one by one, he'll see in every English corner a bit of history.
Welcome back to Darlington, everybody, for episode number 4. Now, yesterday we saw the tiny village of Little Stainton, didn't we? Well, today we're in its neighbour, which shares the Stainton name. There's not much difference in terms of size between the two villages, because to be honest with you, this one's going to take me just about the same amount of time to get through. Its name is Great Stainton. Great Stainton, Stony Farm, large. With one Stainton in the books after yesterday's trip through Little, today we come to Great Stainton, which lies on the route of the Roman road, Ricknell Street, just north of Sadburge. Great Stainton used to be known as Stainton in the Street or Stainton le Street. This was a common way of naming places that stand on Roman roads. Long-time viewers may recall Spittal in the Street in West Lindsey, where the same thing applies, for example. Today known as Great Stainton, which is honestly a bit less of a mouthful to say, this small village has a pub called the King's Arms, an old school, and a delightful selection of houses, 95% of which are on one small lane. It also has a church situated a ways away from the main cluster, surrounded by trees. That's abandoned, and currently housing developers are looking at ways to bring it back to life as a brand new dwelling. Its tall spire is a well-known landmark, seen for miles around. Although larger than Little Stainton, this one still doesn't offer a population of over 100 people, despite the fact it looks pretty substantial on the map. Again, this is a village that was once larger in medieval times. There's a rhyme which is fairly well known in these parts about Great Stainton. It goes, "Stainton Great stands on clay, by it to Stockton there is a way. It has a church without a steeple, a parson blind and unruly people." Since that rhyme was written, it's gained a steeple, rendering the rhyme somewhat useless. I can't imagine the people are unruly these days either, but you never know until you go. Let's find out. If anyone starts anything, the end of my tripod comes sharp, you know. So here we have Great Stainton as it was in 1900. Note how the name Great Stainton is only used to refer to the village. The parish is called Stainton le Street. This was a common way of naming places that stood on Roman roads in those days. The Stainton le Street name is now not used very much, and Great Stainton is preferred instead. Very little, other than the name, has changed since 1900. The main cluster of settlement is still the lane that forms the southern edge of a misshapen rectangle of roads. Great Stainton's church is a ways away from that area. It's to the west, located on a small rise in the landscape, allowing its tall spire to be seen from quite a distance away. The rest of the parish was overwhelmingly rural, with just a smattering of isolated buildings here and there. That's not changed, it's still an agricultural wilderness. Great Stainton is small enough size-wise that we really only need this one map, zoomed in to see everything of note. Here you can see the church on the left, an inn and a school. The church is now disused, as is the school, which is now a private house. The inn too is now closed. Take note too of this section here, marked Cross Hill. Our start and end point is at Cross Hill in the northwestern corner of the village. From here, this route will take us around all four sides of the squashed rectangle that Great Stainton is. This building has seen better days, hasn't it? It's some sort of old garage, which was still completely intact a few years ago, but now it's well beyond repair. I wonder, what was this used for? In any event, our first task is to get ourselves to Great Stainton's church. It's not the easiest one to access, but you can certainly see it really well from this road. All Saints Church is something of a forgotten gem. With its tall reaching spire, this is a stunning example of historic architecture, even though it's not open to the public anymore. Now standing closed and abandoned, there have been plans put forward this year to turn this into a dwelling at some point. How about this for a mighty fine home? It stands just off Elstob Lane in a field ringed by trees. Though the doors are now shut and it awaits a new chapter, its beauty and serenity still capture the imagination. Being detached from the main village, there was presumably a small settlement around this church at one time, now of course abandoned. Originally dating back to the 12th century, All Saints Church was beautifully rebuilt in the 19th century, retaining its charm and historic character. The rebuilding was undertaken between 1876 and 1878 by J.P. Pritchett in the style of the former medieval church. There was an intermediary rebuild some 200 years prior, around the 1670s or thereabouts. Reports suggest, though, that the work was shoddy and the church was damp and miserable. Pritchett solved the problem fantastically well, and the addition of the 80-foot-high spire left that ancient rhyme about Great Stainton completely redundant. The spire is still by far the one feature of this Grade 2 listed building that pulls you towards it more than most, but it also has an aisleless nave and intricate stonework that harks back to its medieval roots. I have to admit, I do feel a little bit awkward at this church because with it having potentially owners in it at some point soon, I wasn't 100% certain if it was going to be lived in by the time I got here, but apparently it's not, so quite safe. I imagine the churchyard will remain open to the public anyway when it is eventually occupied by somebody. What a great place to live, eh? And I tell you what, you wouldn't have any problem with the neighbours, because this is what you find on the track leading up to the church. A whole lot of nothing, basically. It's just countryside. No neighbours at all. Lovely, that, innit? Right, let's carry on into the main village cluster. Now we're on Great Stainton's main street, where most of its houses and other buildings of note lie. This is known as Glebe Road. Here we have the King's Arms, shown on that map simply as just an inn with no name. This bay-windowed former 17th century coaching inn overlooks a tiny green. It was once run by Paul Bussey, a protege of TV chef Gordon Ramsay. It was a very popular rural pub in these parts and saw a lot of passing trade thanks to the main road nearby. Now, though, it's closed. Its last day of operation was April 2022 on a bank holiday Monday. The residents of the village were understandably gutted, some saying it would be hard to find a better little local than this place. When open, it had a public bar in the oldest part of the building, and the extensions to the right housed a lounge and a dining room. Despite the closure, the King's Arms remains a Grade 2 listed building, and as such, it won't be going anywhere anytime soon. Great Stainton once had a school. It was located where Glebe Lane turns northwards and heads back up towards Cross Hill. Education in Great Stainton can be traced back to 1749. That's when the first school was founded and endowed by the Reverend Thomas Nicholson. It would go on to receive several donations, chiefly from the trustees of charities controlled by one Lord Crewe. Now, of course, this building is not the original school. It's far from being mid-18th century. Nobody seems to know where it was located, but it was rebuilt at some point right here. Today, the old school is a private house, and the children of the Stainton villages have to travel further afield. The nearest school is located in Bishopton. Well, I've seen some pretty gardens this morning. I come from a family who are, shall we say, keen gardeners. My mother especially is very good when it comes to plants and stuff like that, bedding plants all over a garden, tubs and hanging baskets and all that kind of stuff. And it just gives me a sense of delight when I see a garden very similar to what my mother would produce, shall we say. And I think this one here, this house here, is the winner so far this morning. Might change in the last village after this one, we'll see. If not, that's the one. So at this point we need to carry on up back lane. The houses kind of stop now and it becomes a lot more rural. After the corner where the school is, the road becomes barren. There are no properties in the northeastern section of the village. Instead, it's all open countryside as Glebe Lane turns into Back Lane, eventually ending at an unnamed road that runs southwest towards Bishopton. And we return to Cross Hill. So what's the story behind this name, Cross Hill, then? Well, it's not a reference to that ramshackle old building here today, that's for sure. Being a hilltop village and located on a semi-important crossroads, Great Stainton would likely have been well known to travellers. After all, we are on the line of a Roman road here, so it's not like people would have avoided this village for any reason. Those who were on the move often needed waymarkers to guide their passage, much like the ones we see often on public rights-of-way today. Nobody's totally sure of it, but there is a belief that this area had one of these ancient guideposts, and it took the form of a stone cross, hence the name Cross Hill. To back this theory up, in the porch at the Church of All Saints, you can see a fragment of a 10th century cross built into the wall. Could that possibly have been sited here at one time? So those are the Stainton villages, folks, and aren't they great? Very rural, peaceful little places, heavily reliant on farming, with a Roman connection thrown in. Tomorrow we're off to a village that can offer us a lot of medieval history. Its most attractive feature is a castle mound, one of the most pronounced you'll ever see. See you there. Now, just before I go, remember, this video is part of a huge project to visit every civil parish in England. That's more than 10,000. These routes are pre-planned, and due to time constraints, I can't cover every detail or walk down every street. Please don't complain if this video missed something out. I pronounce names how I choose to. I am very aware that local dialect may vary, and I don't take kindly to criticism about this. You've been warned. It's impossible to know everything too. If this video was terrible, make your own. If you're a regular watcher of The Village Idiot, you're not the only one. If you've got a small business, why not use my videos to advertise it? Leave a comment below if you're interested. And finally, thanks for watching this episode, everybody. Give us a like and a subscribe if you've enjoyed this episode, and share it with your friends and relatives. It all helps to keep this mission going. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as The Village Idiot, and I'm out.